Okay, this is kind of a disorganized starting video, but this is what I mean by starting. This is the starting position that we have. The soil here is dry, like hard dry, which is the point at which you would normally water them. You let jade plants dry out, and then you water them. My father used to say what they like is benign neglect. Don't overwater them and don't fiddle with them. Just water them when they're absolutely dry. And succulents, which jade plants are part of, are different than regular trees or plants. Regular plants send out shoots when it's wet, and jade plants send out shoots when it's dry. They send out shoots to find water. So so that's kind of the core where we start with stuff. I've just got cutters here. I've got two kinds. There's no magic in the kind of cutters. Do not pay extra for them. But don't get cheap ones that don't. You need ones where the blades come together, where they touch. You don't want to get a crappy cut that leaves a ragged edge. There's a pot. There's another pot. There's another pot. And here's a ton of little teeny tiny pots that I bought on eBay. And yes, if you didn't already back up the video, those are smashed. And I'm using those pieces for the inside of a pot, like this one, or this one, where it's good to have some drainage, gravel or something like that over the drain holes, so they drain, but the water just doesn't run out. You'll see what I mean by that in a little bit. So that's the beginning. I will point out, I have maybe two kinds of jade trees. I'm going to walk around here on the other side of this. This is the main one with pretty plain leaves. You can see the edges of the leaves, you can see it here, are a little red. There's like a red margin on them. I think there'll be more red margin after we leave them out in the sun, which we do. We leave them out. Now, if you live in a cold climate like Wisconsin, you have to be careful to make sure that you don't leave them out. You never want them to freeze or frost. So be careful of that. Also, if you're in a position where there might be heavy winds, that's another deal. This might be a different species. These were planted at about, all of these were planted at about the same time. So you can see that one didn't grow as fast as these, but these really didn't. These might even be older than the other ones. And their leaves are slightly different. They have kind of a mottling or something on them. I don't know if they're a different species or they have some kind of condition, or maybe just that individual specimen is weird. But that's the kind of the starting position with the materials in place. Okay, I'm going to talk through the plan here. This is before I get into the dirt and see what's actually beneath the surface, but the plan, let's see if I can, there we go, that's a little better. The plan is to make this one, this one, this one, this one, and this little group here, this little group here, separate. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pot requirement. Now you notice the tool that I'm using for this. This is not a bonsai screwdriver. You know me, I love me good tools, but this is not a place where you have to worry about good tools, except for the cutters, which I showed you before. You want a nice, tight cutter for that doesn't, where the blades don't bypass each other and make a sloppy cut. These are just, those pliers, and I'm going to take them to this wire first and open it up, and then remove the ball from the pot, and then separate the plants. So I'm going to have to pull the plants up over the wires, and I'm not going to be able to hold the phone and do that, so I'll show you that in a minute. Okay, so I just took the plants, you can see, out of the pot, and you can see here, trying to get this in the sunlight, you can see the bottom of the plant is full of roots. And so now I'm going to separate this root ball. I'm supporting the plants with my fingers between the trunks of the plants so as not to break them off or whatever, and that's hard to do when you have a lot of plants like this, so one at a time would be a better strategy, or one plant to a pot. But when you're doing these little ones, it's easy to get a bunch started, because all you do is stick a leaf in the dirt, literally, and they start growing. Okay, so you can see, it's better to do it this way. You can see I have separated this plant from the main bunch. What I did was I stuck the screwdriver down in the edges around it and then pulled it out. I still wound up, I could feel a lot of the roots breaking, but I think we'll be okay. When they're this close, they're going to be bound together. There's no way of getting around that. Now what I'm going to do is put this root ball into this planter. And you can see there's this little thing here which is intended to give them something, the roots, something to grab onto. Then you wrap the wires around the root ball to keep it from falling over, because the bonsai pots are shallow, so the plant doesn't have enough root base, especially when you're starting, when it's newly in a new pot. It doesn't have enough root base to make it around. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some of these broken shards into the bottom over the hole, just so that dirt doesn't fall out through the hole, and it slows drainage just a tad. And then I'm going to put potting soil. This is just Miracle-Gro potting soil in the blue bag. It's moisture control in there to go around the tree so that it fills the pot and the new pot. And then I will and then I'll wrap those wires around it to keep it upright. So here's the end result. Got two groupings of smaller jade trees in that pot. One in that pot, one, probably the tallest one in that pot, and then one here which I've been working on getting to branch in this pot.